Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show, coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Now, it's Wednesday, and you know how we do it here on a Wednesday at Tobago Updates. So, for those of you joining us, you take your morning meditation, those of you listening to us on the radio, and for those of you viewing us on our various platforms, thank you so much for choosing Tobago Updates to start your morning on the right note. I am Luke Trim, and I'm also joined by
Dwayne Nils, good morning and welcome to Youth Wednesdays and Tobago Updates Morning Show. This is Tobago Updates Television, and yes, this is post-emancipation celebrations. And you may not. I'm trying to my very best to come close to the colors. I've seen yesterday and given the celebrations, but I hope I did not fail miserably. I'm also joined with
Kaylee Lewis. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning, Luke. And yes, Dwayne, I think your colors and the pattern, you're kind of giving that vibe somewhat very similar to what we would have seen yesterday during the emancipation celebration.
Yes.
Were any of you able to be a part of it?
No. I'm so glad that you give me that little kudos there, because I the only thing I won the fought against this morning was sleep. Hence the reason I'm here. But thank you so much, Kaylee, for that. But were you a part of the celebrations yesterday at all?
No, I was not. I had my own little celebration at home. You must play. There's a track on YouTube with some Baptist music.
Right.
You must play that every single emancipation.
So you was doing all the dances and all them things?
Of course.
Right. But Luke, yesterday I looked at a particular story, and Kaylee, and I was seeing somebody eating pizza with knife and fork. That is so nice. I have never done that in my life, and it was such a great inspiration to know that I need to try that sometime. And Kayla, what about you? Want to try that sometime as well?
I'll consider trying the pizza with a knife and fork.
All right, viewers, so we're going to head over to news in 90 seconds with Kaylee Lewis.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
Thank you, Dwayne and Luke. And here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, 2nd August 2023, brought to you by Flow. The curtains came down on the Tobago Heritage Festival yesterday with the Emancipation Day celebrations. Elements of the festival were on display during the street procession from the Coliseum in Crown Point to the Pigeon Point Heritage Park. Additionally, in keeping with the theme of homage, several cultural icons were celebrated for their contributions over the years. This included stalwarts such as J.D. Elder, George Stanley Baird, Annette Alfred, George Leacock, and several others. Additionally, the Prime Minister hailed Ashanti King Otumfu Osei Tutu II's visit as a milestone in reconnecting Africa and Trinidad and Tobago through its shared heritage. Dr. Rowley stressed on the need for collaboration in education between African and TNT universities, focusing on advancing technologies. He highlighted the transatlantic slave trade's devastating impact, forcibly disconnecting millions from their African roots. Dr. Rowley expressed hope that the King's visit would inspire citizens of African descent and the younger generation to appreciate their African heritage. Additionally, political leader of the Movement for Social Justice, David Abdullah, called for an end to the last traces of slavery in Trinidad and Tobago. He emphasized reforming the education curriculum to remove markers of enslavement and racism, replacing them with monuments celebrating freedom and contributions to Caribbean civilization. Abdullah urged for a shift in economic power for wealth, ownership, and decent lives for all. He said social programs should address issues in communities, pushing youth away from violent crime. He advocated celebrating diversity daily and not promoting Eurocentric values. And that concludes your news in 90 seconds.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
All right, thank you, Kaylee, for the news in 90 seconds. I'm going to go over to birthday. Today's birthdays are sponsored by KFC.
This is your birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC. This is your birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
Are you flood ready? Review and update insurance coverage. Install floodgates and barriers. Create a family flood plan. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
Inner Health, number 13B Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
This is your birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
And the belated birthday celebrations are going out, or greetings are going out to Mr. David Dillon. Happy belated birthday goes out to you. Who do we have next? Next, we have Miss Josan Rojas. A happy birthday goes out to you in your beautiful yellow. I hope you enjoy your day.
All right, viewers. So, who do we have next?
We have, and finally, Mistress Nadine Johnson Nichols. Sorry. A happy birthday goes out to you in your emancipation outfit. You look beautiful, and a happy birthday goes out to you from the Youth Wednesday hosts.
Right, so viewers, we always have to let you know what we have in store for you today. And this morning, our segments are very youth-focused and youth-centered. So starting off our interviews, we'll be bringing on Maxland Roberts as we discuss youth and agriculture in Tobago. And our last two interviews will be focused around CARICOM Youth Ambassador. I think that's a very interesting program that us as young people can get into. So stay tuned. If you have a child, if you have a niece, a nephew, or some young person you think that can benefit from these interviews, just stay tuned, and we'll be heading over to Tobago in Focus at the moment. But just remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
The issue of land tenure preventing persons involved in agriculture to access incentives from the Department of Agriculture has been addressed. Registration and Incentive Officer in the Department of Agriculture, Tobago House of Assembly, Giselle Davis, explains.
Prior, we focused on that land ownership, where you must have been the registered owner of the property. It was eased a number of years ago, where we now look at land tenure. Land tenure meaning that for me, for example, I might be an owner of a parcel of land, and you might be interested, or you might be a relative to me in farming. So what we can do is do an agreement, a lease agreement, or I can give you an affidavit. However, whatever land tenure document the person intends on using must be a legal binding document. And also, I must show that I have the rights to give you permission to occupy the parcel of land. Even though I am not the registered owner, I might be the person in charge of and paying taxes on behalf of same.
These agricultural incentives are aimed at encouraging persons to get involved in agriculture. to boost productivity, to encourage good agricultural practices, and to attract new persons to the sector.
Equipment and machinery, water for agriculture, we have land preparation, there are incentives for agro-processors to bring your holding up to HACCP readiness. We have for marketing as well. So each incentive, and I must mention that there are also incentives for vehicles as well.
This program is national, and all qualified persons are encouraged to take advantage of the investment. Farmers must be registered with the Department of Agriculture and includes beekeepers, agro-processors, farmers, cooperatives, and organizations.
So each incentive, coming back to that, carries its own rebate percentage. So the incentive is not a before, it's after. It's a rebate system. So the person purchases, farmers, fisher folk, beekeepers, agro-processors, and we now give back up to 50% of what they would have spent. So for example, under the equipment and machinery incentive, that will cover items like your brush cutters, your water pumps, items like those. The rebate on that is 50%, but all we would pay is $50,000.
For more information and to sign up for these incentives, visit the department at the Millshave Administrative Complex, Shervan Road, or call 639-1966, extension 3585 or 3586. The Department of Agriculture is part of the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment, and Sustainable Development.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. We just heard about some of the agricultural incentives available for us here on the island of Tobago. And this morning we have with us agronomist and crop scientist, Mr. Maxland Roberts. Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's indeed a pleasure to be here. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning to all the listeners on the live and whatever platform you may be listening to us. It's indeed a pleasure to be here this morning.
Okay, so agronomist and the crop scientist.
Yes, those
Tell us about that.
Basically my two professions. It varies. As an agronomist, you tend to have the understanding of crop activity surrounding a myriad of crop production. You tend to understand some level of livestock production and stuff like that. As a crop scientist, this is where you come and you specialize in specific crops, because what people would understand, what we would tend to appreciate is that you can grow a number of individual produce, but when it's time to do mass production in a specific area, the practices that you engage in, the cultural, the agronomic practices vary. So there's a distinction between the two in terms of how you actually treat with the different disciplines. So being exposed to a bachelor's in crop science and technology would have afforded me the opportunity to become that agronomist, and then advancing to the masters and stuff gave you that concept of crop science and stuff like that. So it's just depending on where you approach the discipline from and how you look at it.
Okay, and it's interesting that you would have mentioned that, because I was going to ask you about some of the things that you would have been interested in academic-wise in school. I can imagine in secondary school you probably did.
But I didn't go to secondary school.
Okay, well then you can tell us a little bit about that, because...
So yeah, that is, my academic journey has been really interesting, because through the conventional means I didn't go to secondary school. I actually failed what was then common entrance. You would know it. In those times it was actually common entrance. Now it's C. But I failed on both attempts, and then I went to what they had called a post-primary. That was just a 3-year something, and then I went to trade school and learned trade. And then I went back to school, Elizabeth College. I don't think you would be aware of that as well. At age 19, and started in Form 1 to try to acquire the certificate, the CXC passes. That eventually come and collapsed before I finished. So it was an interesting journey, but what happened, I would have done my training privately, go to do and got maths and English and stuff. And then I got the opportunity and I was accepted at UTT, the University of Trinidad and Tobago, EKIAF campus, the agricultural campus, to do my diploma. And at that time I was 25, 26. And at that point is when the whole thing changed. Because from that diploma, I went on to do a bachelor's there. After I've done the bachelor's, I went to UWI, did my master's. Then I started my MPhil to be upgraded into the PhD, which I'm still doing in science and technology unit in engineering, but food science. So it's within the same discipline, and here I am today.
I think your story is definitely inspiring. Was agriculture something that you've always wanted to do?
Yes. I think I really do believe that is my gift. Agriculture and the discipline of agriculture is my gift. The passion I feel when I engage in agriculture, just growing stuff, being involved, taking it from one level to the next, that transition from being a farmer into an agro-entrepreneur with the mindset and trying to get people to understand, especially the young people, in terms of the potential of agriculture, both monetary and therapeutically. That is something that is close to my heart, and it's something I always just love. I loved planting. I planted way before I actually went to do any academics. Yeah, so I've been farming. It's my grandfather used to farm, my father farmed, my great-grandfather farmed, so yeah. That's part of me.
And I think that speaks to how important it is for persons to do something that they like. You know, they say if you do something you love, you would never work
a day in your life.
So I can imagine that's probably how you feel because you are doing something that you genuinely love.
I could attest to that. That is so true.
And in the program a little earlier on, before we started the interview, we heard them talking about agricultural opportunities available for persons here on the island. Talk to us a little bit about how accessible you believe these things are as an agronomist and crop scientist.
So I know that they are quite accessible and available for persons, the rebates and stuff. So you just have to do the necessary when you make your purchases, do the necessary paperwork to get your incentives back. I would have never really applied for rebates, but I would have gotten a push from the business development unit to upgrade my irrigation and stuff like that on my farm. So I assessed that grant. So apart from the incentives at the division, there are also other opportunities available for farmers, for persons to move their business forward, because so the incentives are quite beneficial to the population. It encourages you to be registered, to be a registered farmer, and these sorts of things, which are all beneficial in the long run if you want to go to the ADB for loans and stuff like that. These things assist you in getting that. And the rebates are actually beneficial. When you can get 50% back on stuff, because some equipments are really expensive. And then when you can get that rebate back, it's an assistance for an encouragement for persons to actually get involved. And I'm glad that these incentives are actually available.
Okay, and you know they usually say there are certain things that are essential for growth and development as young persons. They say, we should do sports, we should read a lot, it will develop your mindset and that kind of thing. Agriculture, how important would you say that is? Do you think it's something that a lot of young persons should be involved in? Persons in Trinidad and Tobago in general. I mean, being able to grow your own food at home and provide for yourself. Let's chat a little bit about
You had breakfast this morning?
Yes, I did.
What you had for breakfast?
I had pizza for breakfast this morning.
Well, interestingly, everything that was on that pizza, a farmer had to be involved in the production of it. It's just the baker that put it together. But the raw ingredients, the raw materials, had to come from a farm. Whether it be the bacon or that was on it, the vegetables, the cheese, the flour, everything had to come from a farmer's being the primary producer. And that is to show you how important agriculture is. Because without it, as I always say, everyone depends on a farmer. A farmer may never have to go to a lawyer, but a lawyer has to depend on a farmer. A farmer may never have to go to a doctor, but the doctor has to depend on the farmer because they must eat. And that is how important the discipline is. So getting young people involved is critical, and I'll tell you why. Because what we're observing is that we're finding an aging farming population, and it needs to be replaced by younger persons, particularly young men, I would say, because it's a kind of labor-intensive activity. And when you don't have young people getting involved, then you run the risk of your sector declining and collapsing. So it is very important from that standpoint, one, to treat with that aging farming community. Secondly, it is important from the standpoint of the monetary benefits. And to get young persons involved, I think what is essential is that we have to show, demonstrate, because we teach to the clarity of our examples. Words don't teach us, life experiences that teach us. We have to show them how beneficial farming can be. You can become a multi-millionaire by farming once you understand. So training is important to have the knowledge of how to do it. Now, a lot of people just feel because they could stick something in the ground and it grows. Fine, but when to expand to a place where it becomes viable takes training and requires training. And that continuation of training is important. And thirdly, the therapeutic aspect of farming is very important because it keeps you occupied, it keeps your mind kind of at a good place, and it keeps you off the block or idle. So you're actually spending your time with the expectation of reaping a reward in the end. So from those standpoints, definitely we need young people to get more involved, and we need to encourage them. They need to be encouraged.
Okay, so definitely some valuable things we can learn out of farming and agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the agricultural community, you said that you
Right.
are a
Mm-hmm.
crop scientist and an agronomist.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the other fields or disciplines young persons can engage in terms of agriculture? If it is they study agriculture, they want to pursue a career in agriculture.
Right. So it varies. You can take it from the crop aspect, or you can take it from the livestock aspect. You can go from the apiculture aspect. You can go from the fisheries aspect. And that's the thing with the discipline. The discipline is broad. You can think of any area where you want to actually get involved and become a part of the chain, because the agricultural chain is really long. So you can be a crop, you can be livestock, you can be apiculture, which is the bees, you can be a botanist, you can be forestry, you can go into ornamental horticulture. All of these are subsectors of the discipline. So persons can be involved at any level. They don't have to be out in the field to say, like, I am physically in the dirt. And then you can use technology at your advantage now and get involved at a different level. But once you get technology involved, you have to now start looking at the economics of the viability of the project that you're doing, because yes, the technology makes things a bit easier, but there's an economic cost attached to that, and then there is an X factor to come into play if you really want to be profitable. You can go into wholesale alone if you wish. You know, you can enter the market from a number of different areas, because the agricultural chain is very wide. It's the widest discipline that you can find.
Okay, I think that part you mentioned about technology is quite interesting as well. And not only technology, but I think there are so many new incentives, but not incentives. So many
technology that's available.
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
I know that there's the hydroponic system as well.
The aquaponics.
So many different things that persons can
But
use.
what I want to encourage persons to do is, yes, it sounds nice, yes, but as I mentioned before, the economic viability of it, because hydroponics tend to allow you to be able to only do leafy greens and stuff like that. And you have to ask yourself, is it really economically viable for me to invest so much? Because the system requires heavy investment. And I could only sell a lettuce for $10. A lettuce does not become this unique product. It's limited to a set price. So when you go and you invest this kind of finance in these types of systems, you have to select products that can really bring the returns on your investment. And that is important to understand, because I could grow lettuce in the soil without all of that fanciness and get the same size lettuce at the same rate and get the same price, and it's going to cost me much less. So it's balancing and understanding that, yes, it looks nice, it looks easy, but the economic viability is always important to understand. And I would encourage young people to always consider the economic viability of any endeavor you engage in prior to getting involved. Agriculture is the same. This is not something by guess, by chance. It's calculated, it's scientific, and you have to apply it from that standpoint for it to be beneficial.
And that's definitely important to note. As we're on the topic of that, do you think that enough is being done in terms of the school system to encourage persons to do agriculture? And even if persons are being encouraged to do agriculture, we just spoke about the economic viability. Do you think enough is being done in that sense, from that standpoint?
And that is unfortunate. And the answer is no, because if enough was being done, then we would have been able to measure it. We would have been able to see the outputs of what is being done. And are we seeing tangible outputs? Are we seeing more young people getting involved? Are we seeing more people being trained in the field to understand how important that is? So I won't say I'm seeing sufficient is being done. A lot more could be done to encourage young people, but it requires a collaborative effort. Private and public stakeholders must be involved. You can't ask the government to do everything. So the private entity, corporate society, has to become involved as well to carry it to that place where we need to be in terms of that training and getting them involved. But definitely I would say it's not enough is being done.
Okay, and I definitely hope that is something we can work on, and you also.
I am always an advocate to get young people involved. I do my own training. I run some short courses on my own time to encourage persons in the village and stuff to come and get a sense of what can be accomplished from agriculture, because it makes no sense that I know this and understand this and not share, because that would be actually defeating the purpose of why I would have acquired the information and the knowledge, because we didn't get this information to keep for ourselves, it's to actually share to help persons. So any persons or partners that are interesting and wants to advance and get people involved, I am always adamant and available to assist in that regard, because we can't keep the knowledge for ourselves.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Mr. Roberts, for chatting with us this morning. Your story, as I said before, is definitely inspiring. I hope that it would have inspired a lot of young persons here this morning to do something that they love, because we can see that you are a shining example of doing what you love. You wouldn't work a day in your life. I hope that a lot of young persons are encouraged to go into agriculture, because, I mean, the economic benefits seem to be very, very
really good. You just have to understand what you're doing. And I encourage young persons to get involved. We may require a little work, but it's the reward. The reward is outweighs the initial work. And you have to, over time is what you will actually get the experience, and it becomes easier over time. So if you start today, then you stand a better chance as opposed to not starting at all. So definitely I encourage people to get involved.
Okay, well, thank you so much again for chatting with us, viewers. We're going to take a short break. Please remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Right now, Tobago onions are just currying down to Bon Accord. right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, half-inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
Summerama, real steam for the summer at Standard. Is a dream for the summer. Dreamy, steamy, Standard. What you have? All the best deals, no drama. Standard be beat like a hammer. Go tell your friend, tell your papa, tell your mama. We got more. Standards have what is searching for. Quality brand, discounts galore. New things for the summer, online in store. Summertime is here, so make the most out of it at Standard. Never beating on quality and price. It's nice.
Inner Health, number 13B, Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. With over 25 years experience, offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Jade Monkey. Stand tall. We celebrate a living legend, Curtis Garant, the International General Garant. Garanti. On the 6th of August, it's a celebration with the General Grant, and he's coming with his friends, Gardenight, Ziggy Rankin, Ice Sasha, and Prophet Benjamin. Your DJs, Trendsetter Goofy, and Jason G Artistry, Dreads International. Admission only $100 at the door. You pay more. Get your tickets now at Jade Monkey Bar, Barcode, Happy Place Bar, and Pablo Supermarket. For more information, call 266-6626 or 366-0991. Follow us on Instagram at Jade Monkey Bar TBG. On Facebook at Jade Monkey Bar Tobago. It's a celebration with the General Grant on the 6th of August from 9 p.m. at the Jade Monkey. This event powered by Digicel, Carib, Cool Control Air Conditioning, and Blue Heron Establishment.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates Morning Show. This is Tobago Updates Television. And yes, you bring us live here, and we want to continue the conversation around youth, but yes, youth in representation, youth ambassadors. And this morning, to have this discussion with me, we have none other than Miss Anne-Marie Degazon from out of the Division of Youth Development, the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm great,
It's a pleasure to have you here to have this discussion. So just quickly tell us, as we delve into this morning's discourse, just a bit about yourself and what do you do at the division?
Okay, well, I am the Youth Development Director, Anne-Marie Degazo. I have worked in youth development for most of my life. Right. And I can say that is probably well over 30 years.
Wow.
So that I enjoy working in this sector thoroughly. Currently, I serve as the director of the department and have been maybe for the last 3 or so years. So my work entails a lot of administrative things. It's not a lot of the fun part of youth work as you would think, because I'm not so much in the field and interacting with the young persons. But a lot of it is ensuring that those things happen.
I want to ask you about the CARICOM Youth Ambassador. Just tell us about that and how, why is it relevant?
Well, I think most people would know CARICOM. I know CARICOM heads of government. And for many, many years, the CARICOM heads of government has been functioning in terms of managing regional affairs. Currently, though, the CARICOM Youth Ambassador Program is one of the initiatives of the CARICOM heads of government that have sought to involve young persons at that highest level of leadership, allowing them to bridge some of the gaps. In fact, they serve a dual role at CARICOM in terms of, one, sharing the issues of young persons at that level of governance, but also they serve bringing information from CARICOM to the young persons of Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. I want to thank you for that. And guys, I just want to introduce at this time Miss Alicia Bethel, another representative, Youth Placement Officer 2, also to join this discourse this morning. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you're hearing me.
Hello, good morning. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you now. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am.
All right. So, Miss Alicia Bethel, just tell us a bit about yourself and what do you do?
Hi, good morning. I am employed at the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. I am a youth placement officer at the ministry. And as Ms. Digazon said, I am no longer in the field. It's more administrative work. So we plan programs, we execute programs at the ministry level.
All right. And, the CARICOM ambassador seems, is a culmination of all the Caribbean territories, all the Caribbean countries, and just on a youth perspective, what are some of the initiatives or the mandates of the CARICOM, this CARICOM Youth Ambassador program and initiative?
Well, I would probably, let me take this one, Miss Bethel, because I think it falls within my area. Normally, a CARICOM Youth Ambassador is a young person who is willing to volunteer their service. I want to start that off. So it's a voluntary kind of a position on a regional stage that represents the voices and ideas of young people. That's what it is. It has some level of advocacy built into that, but the youth ambassador is required to formulate local programs and activity, whichever territory they serve in. In this case, we will have a Tobago youth ambassador, we have a Trinidad youth ambassador, we have 2 Trinidad and Tobago youth ambassadors that will be selected. So their responsibility is to formulate programs and activities on the local level, establish networks and relationships with the Department of Youth Development, and they will do so with the ministry in Trinidad as well. And they will also engage other youth organizations and stakeholders. They also engage in effective programs with the assistance and monitoring of these of both the divisions of youth and the other implementing partners. So they are young persons who should be able to operate virtually independent in terms of coming up with their own ideas, how they can communicate the objectives of CARICOM and make young persons more aware of the role and the services and the functioning of CARICOM in their local area.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Miss Alicia, what importance do you see, especially as it relates to the impact of having representatives, whether it be Trinidad or Tobago, in representing the nation in this regard?
Well, it is pertinent that Trinidad and Tobago have a representative at CARICOM Youth Ambassadors for 2 major reasons. Firstly, Trinbagonian youth, we all have a say, and this can only be achieved through representation from youth for the youth. And secondly, the program provides these young persons with opportunities that affect change on a regional scale.
All right. All right. And what are in your experience, what are some of the programs and initiatives, coming out from this thing that one can expect should they be successful of being a youth ambassador?
Well, what is expected, as indicated by former CARICOM youth ambassadors, is that they especially noted the value of the networking opportunities they received from communicating with other CARICOM youth ambassadors within the program, not only regionally, but internationally as well. And these experience gained would have able to help them better elevate the all the ideas and stuff that the youth of Trinidad and Tobago may have. They all developmental programs.
All right. Thank you for that. I think this question goes to the two of you, but I would ask you first, Ms. Dekazo. Are you seeing that the youth in the Tobago space, are you seeing adequate representation, especially when it comes to these initiatives, I should say?
Well, in the case of the CARICOM Youth Ambassador, I would say ideally, no, right now. That's the reason we're here again this morning, because there was an application process that went out, and we felt that it was important enough to extend the application process so that the deadline is now the 7th of August. And we are encouraging young persons to present themselves. Our last CARICOM Youth Ambassador served with dignity and pride, and I'm sure he will not mind me calling his name this morning, Mr. Keegan Denoon, and he is now the outgoing CARICOM ambassador and was very involved within this sector in terms of working with the Youth Council and other organizations to develop initiatives and support initiatives, even broader than what the scope of the CARICOM Youth Ambassador is, recognizing the need to ensure that young people have a voice. And that is what is one of the things that is critical, the role of the CARICOM Youth Ambassador.
Yes.
So we would really like to see more young persons presenting themselves. They can register at www.mydns.gov.tt. Simply click on the CARICOM Youth Ambassador flyer that is there, and they can register. The form will require them to describe their community involvement, because one of the requirements of being an ambassador is that you must be involved in a youth group or a youth organization. And so we want to say that critically here, the goal is to provide young persons, both in Trinidad and Tobago, with the representation, that they can have the representation that they bring. And the voice of young persons being heard at these levels.
All right. So the same question goes to you, Ms. Alicia. Are you seeing sufficient or adequate representation, especially from the Trinidad perspective? Where are youth still interested in representation on this level is the question.
Yes, I believe so. At Trinidad level, we would have advertised, and we have approximately 55 young persons who have shown their interest. And as Ms. Degazo indicated, the last CARICOM Youth Ambassador that we would have also had from Trinidad, Ms. Renee Atwell, she would have done extensive work. And I believe that it is an opportunity for young persons to have their voice heard, for them to network with others. So yes, we are having a good response to the program. I would also like to say that because of our responses that we would have had here in Trinidad, the extension is only applied to Tobago applicants.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Unfortunately, I have to conclude this segment of this interview. We have the second part coming up with Brother Luke Trim. He will take you guys on in a bit. But before we go, we want to ask the viewers to remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back with Luke Trim.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Exhale Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
Put a smile on your face.
All right, viewers, so welcome back. And as we continue all conversations, CARICOM Youth Ambassador, now Miss Bethel and Miss Anne-Marie Dickerson. The Youth Ambassador program has contributed to the integration of young people on a CARICOM level. You know, it has aided in integrating the perspectives and views of youths across the region on a national, regional, and international level in the policies and programs. So the program is a really interesting program. Now, the question now is, why should young people get into the Youth Ambassador program, especially in Tobago? Because you would have mentioned Keegan, and it's only one. I don't know if it is that we can have multiple ambassadors. Can we have multiple ambassadors, and why should they get involved?
Well, I would say I totally agree with you. It's an esteemed position. When you hear the term ambassador, you're talking about representation. And a youth ambassador, in this case, the CARICOM Youth Ambassador, is one that should be between 18 and 25. So we're talking about their body of youth representation. And that is what it is. It's an opportunity to be at and operate at a level of decision making, where you're giving back to your community, where you're serving. You are the decider of what happens in Tobago as it relates to educating young persons about CARICOM. And that is an esteemed position. I would love that there are more CARICOM youth ambassadors, but as ambassador, the selected ambassador, you can agitate for that.
Okay.
You can make that happen. In fact, at the Department of Youth Development, we do see the need to have ambassadors in other areas in terms of agriculture, in terms of our climate change issues, our environmental development. And it is, in fact, part of our policy position to make the ambassador program much more established. And so you have ambassadors who will communicate and represent and educate young persons across a broad spectrum. But in this case, of course, we're talking about CARICOM, and we know that is an important institution that fosters regional integration, and our young persons need to be a part of that. So there's no way we can be left out. So we are saying that that alone is the push. You know, we've heard young persons who are involved in youth organization, and to be an ambassador, you must be involved in a youth organization, be between 18 and 25. And in this case, because we are speaking about Tobago, you must be born in Tobago.
Okay, lovely.
So we know there are plenty of young people out there born in Tobago. Yes. They might be in different parts of the globe right now celebrating, but that does not deter you from participating and applying. So I expect that by the end of this interview, we will see a flood of interviews coming in. Because, you know, if there is no competition in the selection process, you don't just want to walk in. You want to know that you have earned your place there and that your peers have been selected, and that is what the process is. So we will screen and we will select, and young persons have an opportunity to present themselves.
That's so
and I'm seeing young people here, so I'm hoping you'll apply.
That's lovely, Ms. Dickerson. And Ms. Batel, my question to you is, when you look at on an international level, a lot of young people want to become diplomats. We want to go to the UN, we want to speak, we want to advocate, we want to get our views and perspectives out there. And thankfully, the CARICOM Youth Ambassador Program is actually that stepping stone to get that diplomat status. So tell us a bit more about diplomacy and how us as young people can contribute to that.
All right, so as CARICOM Youth Ambassadors, they are able to formulate local programs and activities. CARICOM Youth Ambassadors are also able to establish networks. They are supervised by the Department of Youth Affairs, youth organizations, and other stakeholders. And they are able to actively formulate programs with the assistance of the Monitoring Committee, comprising of the Youth Development Affairs, as well as implementation partners.
Okay, Ms. Batel, and when we look in the youth space, an issue that we see is that as young people, even though we advocate to have a seat at the table, sometimes when we do get by the table, we don't have a seat, we're just there standing as ushers. So, and when you look at the Youth Ambassador Program, this program is going to give young people the opportunity to build their leadership, to build their negotiating skills, to be able to just take up space. So when they do have a seat at the table now, they wouldn't be the ushers, they would actually be contributing to the discussions and by extending the entire development of the youth in the CARICOM. So my question now is, when you look at regional integration, when you become a CARICOM ambassador, how is that relationship when you get to collaborate with other ambassadors from other CARICOM islands?
She heard you. Okay, I'm not sure if Miss Bethel heard the question, but let me jump in while we're getting that sorted out. I would say in my own experience, having seen it operate, it is important that young persons are involved at the local level in terms of their group operations and the skills that they need to acquire. Simple things like how to conduct a meeting, how to do an agenda, how to present, and so on. Because those skills become important when you're operating at that regional level. You're now sitting with your colleagues and your counterpart and being able to hold your own in a discussion, a debate, getting decisions made in your favor.
Yes.
You know, because if we see how CARICOM heads of government meet and there's around the table, you may have to speak to certain particular issues. So it's important that you be well read, that you keep up to date with what's happening in your local territory. But more importantly, I think it's important that you are connected with other young persons, because you don't want to rise to that level and then you're not sure how the average young person is thinking, because you are representative. And a representative means that you're presenting not only your own views, but you're presenting the views of other young persons as well. So you have to develop that mechanism, and that's why we say networking is important, that you're able to hear what the young man on the block is thinking about these issues, and they have some important thoughts come out of there. And then you understand what the students are thinking. And we know now that in Trinidad and Tobago, our youth is between the age of 10 and 35. So you definitely need to have a network established that you can connect with those roots to be able to
not
share.
To interrupt you. in January, we would have hosted the Caribbean Youth Summit, CYLS,
Yes.
right here in Tobago. And that last point you made, we would have seen it ourselves, because till this day, I would have built so many good connections with people from all over the Caribbean islands. So we are able to discuss everything on a regional level now. And it's really interesting that I'm able to now see the perspectives from different islands, because the problems we face in Trinidad and Tobago may be completely different in Barbados, completely different in St. Lucia. And now, when we look at issues here in Trinidad and Tobago, such as when rainfall, we see the flooding issue in Trinidad. When we look in Tobago, we see the need for agriculture to be boosted, the need for youth to get more involved in tourism. When you have that regional support from other islands, you could now take tips, you can now take the ideas to say, okay, maybe we can try this in Tobago, maybe we can try this in Trinidad. So it's really excellent, that last point that you made.
Most definitely, most definitely. And you see the similarities too, because sometimes, you know, there's some age-old disputes sometimes that we have within this Caribbean region, but you also see the benefits of us working together. And we are entrusting that with our young persons now on board, you can forge ways to promote the integration of our people so that we can treat with the common issues that we have.
That's excellent, Ms. Degazon. So, Ms. Degazon and Ms. Bethel, I want to thank you all both for joining us here on the Youth Show to discuss everything CARICOM Youth Ambassador. I hope that every young person who is watching this live at the moment, or who will be watching the rerun, that you all will just send in that application. Do not deny yourself. Still send in that application, because you don't know what can be your portion. This is an excellent initiative. This is an opportunity to be that voice and to really represent the youths in Tobago and Trinidad, and just get the views and opinions out there. So thank you once again. And viewers, we have reached the end of our youth show here on Tobago Updates. I want to thank you all once again for joining us, and we'll see you all next week. It's always a vibe here on the Wednesday show. So once again, I'm going to ask you all to share the live, share the live, share the live. We're going to head over to Good Morning Tobago with Candice Jackson.
Indigenous to Tobago's culture, the Tobago Heritage Festival 2023 kicked off last weekend. This festival is one of the most talked about festivals in the country, drawing people from near and far. On Monday, all roads led to the beautiful fishing village of Charlottesville for their annual hosting of Natural Treasures Day.
You are here to experience Natural Treasures Day. And for those who are here for the first time, Natural Treasures Day really speaks about the way we lived as Tobagonians, how we live, our everyday lives, from aspects in our agrarian lifestyle to how we got coals as a form of energy, how we did our laundry, how we baked, how we cooked, how we produce our juices, how we built. Literally every aspect of our life is touched on during the day, because what you'll be experiencing today is a very intergenerational type of experience. You will see the very old, the middle-aged and the very young all participating. It is an immersive experience, so please immerse yourself in the experience. No one will rebuke you for participating, for taking away a bamboo from somebody and hitting it on the ground. Try to keep the rhythm as much as is possible, and just learn as much as you can from the experience.
This is actually my first time coming to the Charlottesville Natural Treasures Day, so I want to go and try the batty mill, and then I want to visit the saw pit. It looks quite interesting. I am looking forward to getting a little bit of Charlottesville culture as well, how close-knit this society is and how strong they are driving community-based tourism. So just trying to get a little bit of everything in today.
Charlottesville is always an experience. The vibes is nice, the people are very hospitable, and the food is amazing.
This year's theme for the festival is homage, paying tribute to all are we and all are who are we be. I'm Raina Elaine for Let's Talk Tobago.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates.
Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denicia. Let's go!
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
The curtains came down on the Tobago Heritage Festival yesterday with the Emancipation Day celebrations. Elements of the festival were on display during the street procession from the Coliseum in Crown Point to Pigeon Point Heritage Park. Additionally, in keeping with the theme, homage, several cultural icons were celebrated for their contributions over the years. This including stalwarts such as J.D. Elder, George Stanley Baird, Annette Alfred, George Leacock, and several others. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister hailed Ashanti King Otofu Osei Tutu II's visit as a milestone in reconnecting Africa with Trinidad and Tobago through its shared heritage. Dr. Rowley stressed on the need for collaboration in education between African and TNT universities, focusing on advancing technologies. He highlighted the transatlantic slave trade's devastating impact, forcibly disconnecting millions from their African roots. Dr. Rowley expressed hope that the King's visit would inspire citizens of African descent and the younger generation to appreciate their African heritage. And finally, Movement for Social Justice political leader David Abdullah called for an end to the last traces of slavery in Trinidad and Tobago. He emphasized reforming education in the curriculum to remove markers of enslavement and racism, replacing them with monuments celebrating freedom and contributions to Caribbean civilization. Abdullah urged for a shift in the economic power for wealth, ownership, and decent lives for all. He said that social programs should address issues in communities, pushing youth away from violent crime. He advocated for celebrating diversity daily and not promoting Eurocentric values. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. Well, viewers, I trust that you had a very good holiday, a very relaxing holiday yesterday in celebration of Emancipation Day. Such a huge day within our calendar. And, so it was a wonderful time here in Tobago. But we're going to get straight into our conversation now with Mr. Watson Duke, political leader of the Progressive Democratic Picture. Sorry, the name just slipped me for just a second. Sorry about that, Mr. Duke. But good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candace Jackson. Good morning, Tobago. In particular, my constituency of Roxborough, Argyle, Delafour, and all that falls within. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
All right. So, Mr. Duke, tell me, how are things in Trinidad in terms of your the party campaigning for the local government elections in Port of Spain?
Things are on track. Things are exactly the way we want it to be. We are keeping as much as possible out of the unfriendly media, and we are meeting the people where it matters most, in their homes, on the streets, and on the beat.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right on track.
Now, one thing I noticed about your campaign so far is that you are going about it in a way that you went about your campaign in Tobago for when you were putting yourself up as an independent candidate for the Tobago East seat in 2015, in terms of you going out there with the blowhorn and so on through the communities. And how has that strategy been working out for you in Port of Spain?
Oh, it's very good. I think the people appreciate it. People in Trinidad now are tired of the same old, and meaning what they had grown accustomed to is a type of cookie cruncher politician They come around every 4 years, 5 years, and they big music trucks and give away money trying to buy votes. They want something that is organic, something that is natural, something that is not overhyped, not supercharged. They want something that is very low key, deep, profound, and something they believe they can touch. So when I'm on the ground, there's no table before me, there's no stage, there's no bright lights on me and the people in darkness. I do not have any glass of water, and they have to buy bottled water. The ground I'm standing on is the same ground they are standing on, and they can come as close to me as they desire. So for me, it's a very good thing.
And we're also seeing that, there's a whole lot of attempts within the space in Trinidad right now with the political parties. There's a lot of coalitions happening, but we see that the PDP remains itself in Port of Spain.
Certainly. You only join a political party for strength. All right. In this case, the PDP is not in a weak position. Based on the last political match, the PDP defeated, or dare I say, devastated the PNM completely. It places PDP ahead of the UNC. The last match, the UNC lost. NTA could not have been found. So who are we going to merge with at this point in time? Those that lost. And when you merge with that type of party, they want you to be an underling, an altar boy, play second fiddle. We do not subscribe to that.
And then what's also interesting is that you are in a position where it's very possible that you could come out with a few councillors or a few aldermen as well in the constituency, depending on how the elections go, based on the fact that the PDP is the only one that is putting forth candidates for all of the districts in Port of Spain against the PNM.
Well, to correct you in that, we only doing 8 out of 12. There are 12 districts.
Okay.
We are doing 8. You require 7 districts to lead the city council. In this case, we expect to have all 8 seats. We have been diligently campaigning, and we've been doing so, I would say, in a very sensitive and meticulous manner. And so it's more art for us, where every stroke makes sense and every stroke paints a picture of what we are trying to achieve. We are confident that on Monday 14th, Port of Spain would change hands after 67 years from the PNM to the PDP. The people understand our style of politics. Our style of politics is different from the UNC, NTA, and the PNM. We are the only politician that believe in the grassroots. We have been traversing until Port of Spain East, which stretches from Belmont all the way down to Elots. Yeah, that comprises of about 7 districts, almost 8 districts basically. And so we have been doing a fantastic job in that area, and we are happy that we are reaching the people who need reaching out to continuously on a daily basis.
Now, I mean, what makes you so confident that you would be able to unseat the PNM?
Well, the PNM never had a challenge before, They never had a challenge before. The PNM was a default position. The people of Port of Spain East and Port of Spain in a whole are predominantly of African descent and mixed with African descent. And based on how they have been informed to vote, they vote around cultural lines and social lines. And the UNC comes into play once every 3 years, 5 years, 4 years in this case. Right? And people don't want that. They want someone who's constantly around them. The PNM has been constantly around them. Do not involve in their lives. They have been up and down the place. Do not involve in their lives personally. What we have done as a PDP, we have gotten involved in their lives, and we belong to the same culture, the African culture. Socially, we are relevant to the people of Port of Spain. And from that perspective, there can be identification of cause. We can identify with the struggle of the Port of Spain people and environs outside of Port of Spain. We can identify with it. In Penal, we have someone from Penal who can identify with the cause. And this is not one where one model fits all. We try to adapt to each and every environment that we're dealing with. In a place like San Juan Lavantil is a mixture of African and Indian. So we have to understand that even in that area, we have to operate different from Port of Spain and different from Penal and different from Sandy Grande and different from Princestown, etc.
What are some of those issues that are popping up as you go through the communities and as you campaign? What are some of those major issues that are not being dealt with at a local government level?
Well, all the issues. I dare say again, local government is really the government that provides resources to the people. Central government is a government that make laws, policies, and give that financial resource to the local government for the enactment of certain ideas, they will plan, etc. But on the ground, the people do not feel local government is relevant, even except they want a corporation work. They don't even take the cleaning of the drains seriously anymore. Nothing local government does make sense to the people on the ground. And that's largely because the PNM and the UNC have killed the value of local government. In my mind, I understand local government because Tobago is a local government. Though it's called Tobago House of Assembly, it is not the original Tobago House of Assembly that could have made laws and was independent of any other island. This Tobago House of Assembly is a local government, and I could speak more about that another time. However, in the local government, the mayor have an extremely large role and a serious role. The mayor is the voice of the people. Any single thing that happens on the ground, any extrajudicial killing, the mayor could call for due process. HEC not fixing the homes, tenants are paying money and not getting what they want, the mayor could call on HEC to address the problems. Failure to do so, the mayor could take any person to court on behalf of the people, any person, even the central government. The mayor can take the central government to court on behalf of the people of Port of Spain. So the people of Port of Spain will have a real strong man in the form of the mayor being Watson Duke, and that is what they want. They want someone who will really make sense in their lives.
All right. Well, Mr. Duke, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll continue our conversations as we discuss, the PDP in Trinidad, and as well might get to touch on a few issues for Tobago as well.
Never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tattoo will always be here for you. Tattoo, where people are people. You know what I mean.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
Only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky fried chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
Summerama, real steam for the summer standard.
It's a dream for the summer. Dream is steamy. Standard. What you have? What you have? All the best deals, no drama. Standard be beat like a hammer. Go tell your friend, tell your papa, tell your mama. We got more, we got more. Standards are what is searching for. Quality brand, discounts galore. New things for the summer, online in store. Summertime is here, so make the most out of it at Standard. Never beaten on quality and price. It's nice.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bonaccord, right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, 1/2 inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
Are you flood ready? Review and update insurance coverage. Install floodgates and barriers. Create a family flood plan. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are chatting this morning with the political leader of the Progressive Democratic Patriots, Mr. Watson Duke, as we discuss the PDP in Trinidad for the local government elections. Now, Mr. Duke, of course, would have launched some of his candidates yesterday as well. And, just tell me about, just the feeling on the ground and the reactions that you've been getting following that launch.
Well, the vibes is good. Trust me. We have energy, more than power gen, more than any of the power plants. We are energized and the people are ready because we wanted to wait until the last 2 weeks to ramp up our campaign. And you will see our campaign being ramping up, not the way the other parties ramp up their campaign with 10 and 15 loud noise on the road. Nobody can hear, old people getting frightened. We're not doing that, right? We're going to ramp up our canvassing, ramping up, talking to our people, addressing their concerns. So from the time the 15th come, and we would have won on the 14th, once we are sworn into office and appointed, we could just plug and play, turn the key, and let the game begin. Full governance, full governance. That's what we're ready for. We're excited.
And tell me about, just that strategy that you are going to be employing.
Well, it's one where we are canvassing the people, not just to vote, but to understand their needs. And need among the Port of Spain people is that of employment, safety, security, flooding, also food. Some persons are not able to afford food as they would like to and as often as they would like. Another problem is businesses, both small, medium, and big business. I say small business because a lot of small business feel marginalized and ostracized and left to dead. We want to harmonize all of that and attend to all of those issues. So we are quite focused on developing plans even as we speak. So from the time we enter into office, we could able to conduct an executive council in a very pointed way, focused way, that says this is what we will do over the next 6 months, the next year, so as to ensure at the end of the 4 years, Port of Spain reaches this position, San Juan Laventille reach this position, Pinal de Bay reach this position, Princess Tongue reach this position, Sandy Grande reach that position. Those are the areas we are contesting. This is a foot in the door technique This is try it on a small patch first. And if you have no bad reaction, then try it on the whole beard, try it on your whole head, try it on all over your skin. We intend to go for all seats in the upcoming national elections. We are clear about that. All 41 seats. We are not in any partnership with anybody. We know how that goes. People take you, laugh you, and leave you in the middle of the road. We're not on that. There are too many betrayers out there. We are very focused on where we need to be in order to enact the changes people are longing for.
Now, one of the things that you've said recently at one of your lives, I should say, when you're going through the community, is that there are like over 15,000 vacancies existing within the government, within state agencies that people do not have access to. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, yes, the government have been deliberately stymieing the filling of vacancies. They have been stymieing that, and they can do that based on the powers they have given to the permanent secretaries. The word they use is suppress. They have been suppressed filling vacancies and instead opting for contract jobs. That's the way they could create a PNM army, a UNC army. And so when one politician gone, a next one comes in and removes all of those persons and say, well, you on contract, so we have to fire you. What that creates is institutional instability. And so therefore the institutions will not be as strong as they should be, but rather weak, fragile, timid. People will not make the moves that they are placed there to do. So we speak of those 15,000 vacancies because being the president of the PSA, I have those information and I'm fully attuned as to what goes on in the public service. It will be the first time that someone who understands the public service from the belly of the beast, so to speak, comes to lead a corporation or a local government in a way that will reflect the yearnings of even these public servants and these contract workers. We need to stop enslaving people and make them economically weak. Those contract persons share a bond with the people of Laventille. They're economically weak. They can't go to the bank, they can't get a mortgage, they can do nothing more than buy a car and drive up and down. And when the car gets bad, they can't pay for it. That's it. They are held to ransom by that contract. We need to minimize contract and create more steady jobs for persons within Port of Spain and within the environs, and by large, the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. Mind you now, the people of Laventille, they are somewhat challenged that a lot of them do not have documentation for the lands they are on. Thus, they cannot effect any serious repairs to their homes or even renovate their homes outside of the money they have. That is a danger. And sometimes people could be administrating for their lands without they even knowing. So we have to partner with those persons in the public sector and those persons in East Port of Spain who feel as if they are present but yet nowhere. We have to make them become a part of the system, become vested in the public service, the contract workers and the permanent workers. They must feel vested. And the residents of Port of Spain, they must also feel vested in being part of Port of Spain, knowing that nobody is going to run you out of town. And we are going to put an end to that. Nobody's going to run any resident of Port of Spain out of town when I am mayor. Forget that nonsense they're talking about gentrification. Want to pauperize and make people vagrants? Not under the PDP. It cannot happen and it would not happen. I say it now, loud and strong, end that gentrification project. We don't want that in Port of Spain. Let's rebuild the houses in a decent way and allow the residents there to continue living. And we will work it out that they live not as a drag on the system, but a benefit to the system.
All right, Mr. Duke. But as we're getting ready to wrap up our conversation this morning, I have to touch as well on what's going to happen to your representative situation here in Tobago, being the assemblyman for Roxborough Argyle. What is the future looking like for that district?
Well, I would say I will not cross the water unless my feet first touch it. I will not cross the river, sorry, unless my feet first touch the water. So let my feet touch the water, and then I will see how I'll cross that river.
All right. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Duke, for being on with us. It was a pleasure speaking
Thank you
with you
very
this
much.
morning, and we're certainly looking forward to see what happens with the local government elections and to see what impact that the PDP makes in Trinidad as they go forth in this venture. All right, viewers, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more on GMT, so don't you go anywhere.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Jade Monkey. We celebrate a living legend, Curtis Garant, the Outer International General Garant. Guaranty. On the 6th of August, it's a celebration with the General Grant, and he's coming with his friends, Gordonite, Ziggy Rankin, Sasha, and Prophet Benjamin. Your DJs, Trendsetter Goofy, and adjacent G Artistry, Dreads International. Admission only $100 at the door. You pay more. Get your tickets now at Jade Monkey Bar, Barcode, Happy Place Bar, and Pablo Supermarket. For more information, call 266-6626 or 366-0991. Follow us on Instagram at Jade Monkey Bar TBG. On Facebook at Jade Monkey Bar Tobago. It's a celebration with the General Grant on the 6th of August from 9 p.m. at the Jade Monkey. This event powered by Digicel, Carib, Cool Control Air Conditioning, and Blue Heron Establishment.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over. Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are getting into a conversation this morning with Mr. John Arnold, who is a producer, composer, and of course a musician within our space, and Mr. Michael Boothman, event promoter and artist. And we are here talking with these two gentlemen because we are talking about the art galleries, Jazz Meets Art. Good morning and welcome to you, Booths.
Good morning.
Morning.
Now, first of all, tell me, what is Jazz Meets Art? What is this all about?
All right. So the concept is one. I met with Martin Superville, who is actually doing Serendipity, the art show for the last 2 weeks. And he's closing that show. So I literally collaborated with him. And I said, do as meets the art, meaning people enjoying art, but also that eclectic kind of mood, but having some jazz music being part of it. And none other than Mike Bootman, who my dear friend, and he has been in Vineyard for years. As a matter of fact, this weekend I sent for him an old flyer from 1983 when they did something at Blue Haven, and it was $15 to go in. Of course, we're in 2023. It's going to be $100 to enter. But Mike's music, my music, Lynette Louis vocalist, and we have Richard Joseph coming up from Trinidad. I think it's going to be a wonderful evening, and that's the intention. So that people come, they get a sense of the ambience of art, but they also get an enjoyment, entertainment with some great jazz.
Certainly, it sounds exciting. And Mr. Boothman, I just would like, from you, I mean, tell me about your involvement in this and, what attracted you to it?
Well, as John said earlier on, I mean, we have been friends for a long time, since the inception of Kariwak. That's a long time. And I have been part of Tobago. My album Heaven, the Heaven album, was actually, the lyrics and stuff was written in Tobago. I used to do a lot of my songwriting and stuff in Tobago. Tobago has been a place where I could go and relax in solitude and be able to pick up real nice vibe, eat food, fish, and blue food and stuff like that, and enjoy the ambience of Tobago. So when John brought the idea to me, at first I thought it was included my paintings, because I'm also an artist. But I learned afterwards it was an existing exhibition, and I'm happy to be part of it. Because anything with art and music, as a matter of fact, a year ago I got Hummingbird Gold for art and culture. So that's something that lends itself.
And Mr. Arnold, as someone who pioneers jazz music, I know you have such an amazing passion for jazz in particular. I mean, tell me about that combination of art with jazz.
Yeah, I mean, I travel, fortunately, and one of the things that really attracts me, I go to several art galleries, art museums. Recently, I just came back from New York, and I museum, which is the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And by the way, anybody who has never had a chance, you can't do it in one day, because it features over 2 million pieces, and it captures all over the world: Egypt, Arab, I mean, you just name it. And art and music have always been, if you go back to the Greek time, music, theater, dance were all part, and art were all part of that whole thing about performativity and so on. It has always been, they all inspire each other. So for me, I think this is a new part. We're hoping to do many jazz meet art shows. This is the first we are going to be pioneering, but the intention, both Martin and myself, is to do more of this. In the future, I'm looking forward to actually featuring even Michael Boothman's art. You know what I mean? So this is really the start of many more shows we plan to do every quarter. That's the intention at this time. So every quarter, every 3 months, 4 months, we're going to be hosting one of these shows. And I think it's a beautiful evening. It's a nice time. We just came out of Heritage. And again, we're going into this summer. We don't have summer, but we call it summer. But we're going into this summer vibe. I think, it's a nice evening to come, get some nice drinks, soup, and relax, and, really kind of take in the music. And I'm telling you, it's going to be great. One of the great Tobago vocalists in terms of jazz is Lynette Louis. And we're going to feature her. And we're actually going to do a song because we want to pay a little tribute to Tina Turner. What's Love Got to Do With It? So we're going to be doing that. All right? So expect some magic, expect some improvisation. And I know, Michael, you will be doing Heaven, right?
I'll be doing Heaven, and also my new material. I have an album that's out just about a year called Songbook 1, and I'm just about to release Songbook 2. So you will hear some of the new works that needs to be exposed in Trinidad and Tobago. Because what happened is I approached the marketing from outside in. So I have been able to get a lot of traction from most of the outer world because I'm on Boomplay, which is an African streaming platform, Sign, so I'm getting the type of traction from those streaming platforms. So now it's time to concentrate on the local markets.
And to bring it home. And certainly, that's going to be such a treat.
Tobago will be the first to already get the exposure of it, actually. So some of the things that they're going to hear on Sundays, pretty new stuff that I'm now going to be putting out. So Tobago, again, just like how I did when I did Heaven, Tobago started it. I came back to Tobago and I did and work and put it out there. So I'm starting that whole regime again, to do that way,
Mm-hmm. And Mr.
Sorry.
Okay,
no, I was saying, Candice, I was just going to add, one of the things I think people should look for, I'm going to have all, in fact, I plan, and I'm sure Michael's going to bring some of his other works. I think a lot of people don't really catch it. I have 7 albums. I'm sure Michael has more than that. So we want to also have that on display. And these CDs are going to go very cheaply, because we have moved in the now, So I'm going to have some of mine there. Tobago Jazz, Kaiso in the Jazz Stew, the recent project I did with Tambourine and so on. We're going to have all that there, So it's going to be a wonderful evening. And people just have to come out. Yeah. And by the way, I don't think you can beat $100. That's like
giveaway.
Tell me a bit about some of the other artists that will be featured in the art side of things. Well, the painting side of things, I should say.
Right, so I would be the one to really give a little more context to that. Unfortunately, on this live, but the serendipity, I myself went to see it, and very interesting art. And Martin himself, you realize, is probably the only art gallery in Tobago. I don't know of any other that you can just walk in to look at art, except the one at Chopin Art Collection, which I'm not too sure what the current status is. But in terms of a private art gallery, I don't like Tobago. So it's actually the only one we have, and is because it's who's passionate about art. I don't know if you've ever gone there, Candice.
Oh yes, I have.
Oh, yeah, right. So it's a wonderfully put away place, and I think people would love the ambience, love the art, enjoy the music. And what a nice time to network and talk with friends and family, talk to Mike, and nice storytelling,
Certainly. And and it's such a wonderful way to be able to connect. I mean, connect over art and connect over some good jazz music.
Yes, I think both create conversations.
Certainly. And well, Mr. Boothman, I mean, I don't know if you want to add, how much does just art complement music, and what does that even just do to the creative side that we have within us, and so on?
Well, you're actually right person here, because I am an artist. I paint and I compose, and basically it is a marriage. As a matter of fact, I get watching a blank canvas. It's just like watching a manuscript or going towards the computer and putting down ideas. So I, as a matter of fact, when I along with painting, I am actually composing most of the times simultaneously. It's an art. It's a visual art. I usually tell people the reason why people know more about my music is because music is more exposed to a wider audience than actually visual art. You have to actually go to that gallery or go to someone's home or purchase a painting at various galleries and so on. But it's not something that is like every weekend there's a show or party or somewhere where you could hear music. So music being the audible type of art and the visual art, both of them hand in hand and glove.
All right, and then as we're getting ready to wrap our conversation this morning, Mr. Arnold, I don't know if you could give us the details again about where we could go to get this lovely jazz and art mix.
Yeah, so the show takes place on Sunday, this Sunday coming, the 6th, at the Art Gallery, which is in Lowlands. You just go down that to go to Cards. Instead of going to Cards, you turn right, and then you'll see the sign which leads you to the Art Gallery. $8, and it starts at 5 p.m. It starts at 5 p.m. and it's going to be a mixture of music. Sometimes it's going to be myself, sometimes it's going to be Lynette, sometimes it's going to be Mike. But at juncture, it's going to be 2 to 3 hours of really solid enjoyment, networking, art, and the composition. And I'm sure we're going to have improvisation, which will have to do with that day, because none of us here know what's going on that day. And I like the response. Tickets are available at Actors Leather store on Burnett Street and also at the Art Gallery. And of course, people can reach me at 751-5027.
All right, great. I want to thank you both for being on with us and for sharing with us about the Art Gallery Jazz Meets Art coming up very soon, looking like a very, very wonderful event here within our space. And just such a wonderful thing, combining jazz music with art. Can't get better. All right, viewers, so we're going to take a quick break and we'll return in just a moment with GMT.
All soca lovers, stand up. All soca lovers, stand up.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
This is it.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
It's a different type of thing down there. Man, we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
All soca lovers, stand up. All soca lovers, stand up.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, we are opening our phone lines this morning. So if you want to get in on the conversation, you can. The number is on your screen, 284-6597. So you could dial us up. We're wrapping up Heritage. Well, we've wrapped up Heritage, I should say. The curtains came down yesterday as with the Emancipation Day celebrations, and we want to hear from you. What do you think about Heritage? We've been hearing some views, throughout the time as we've been going through the various villages and so on. There's a lot of concerns within the space, so we want to hear from you. Like, how do you feel? Did you like what you saw? What improvements can be made, if any? I know there was an emphasis on this year being that year that they take a introspective look at what the Tobago Heritage Festival is and how they can make it better for the future. So in some ways, it was scaled back than it has been in previous years. There's some of the things were smaller. Not all of the events were out as some of us would have liked. But according to the THA, they took that step deliberately to do some evaluations and see where we can take the festival. So we want to hear from you. How do you feel about it? What are your opinions? What are some of the things that you think is missing? What the THA is missing? What the planning committees are missing? How did you enjoy it at all? What events did you go to? What do you think worked? What didn't work? So yeah, don't come in and join the conversation about the Tobago Heritage Festival. One thing that was interesting over the past week and a half was the Heritage Library has been releasing some documents about about some of the flyers and so on for heritage festivals in the years past, some as far back as 1987, 1988. So it was quite interesting to see some of those things, to see what was done in those years, in the original years, I should say, of the Tobago Heritage Festival. It seemed as though it was, a bumper season, using the words of our dear Assistant Secretary in Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Megan Morrison. It seemed like quite a bit of a bumper season, that for those years when the Tobago Heritage Festival first started. And I know a lot of people compare what we have now to what we have back then. There's a concern that sometimes some of the things of old got kind of missed or kind of left out as we try to modernize the festival and try to, make it palatable for the current generations and even the visitors that are here. So, what are your perspectives on that as well? You see, this was one from 2004. Back in those days, I was in high school, not really paying much attention to what was going on at the Tobago Heritage Festival back then. But hey, those are just some of the things that you're talking about, the seafood festival and so on, that was in those brochures that were going out there to the public. One of the things that was added on this year was that Harvest Festival in Speyside. Taking that something that we hold dear in many of our communities and including that in the Tobago Heritage Festival lineup. So did you go to that? Did you go to it in Speyside? And how do you feel about it? Do you think it worked? There's something that one of the things that we covered too in our newsroom was the Plymouth Fisherman Festival. And even though that's not quite as part of the Heritage Festival as it is today, a lot of the things that was spoken about in terms of the traditions and how it got started are some of the things that are lost today when we talk about Fisherman Fest and so on. In the same way that a lot of the traditions are being lost in some of the things that we do for the Tobago Heritage Festival. So yeah, if you are interested, if you have any perspectives on that, you can give us a call, and of course the number is on your screen, 284-6597, 284-6597. And as we are at the end of the Tobago Heritage Festival, we are also getting ready for the Commonwealth Youth Games. Yeah, the Commonwealth Youth Games is happening. It's from the 4th, which is on Thursday, until the 11th, and 4 of the events are being held in Tobago. And as of course the beach volleyball, a triathlon, rugby, and slipping my mind the other one, but netball. Sorry, netball is also happening in Tobago. But yeah, so these, I mean, we are very much excited about it. Over the weekend, some segment was also generated with the arrival of sand for the beach volleyball area that's now currently under construction in Blackrock. I know quite a lot of work is going on right there to get that facility ready, a brand new facility for beach volleyball. I mean, there's been talk about us having a facility for years within the space, but we were never able to do anything until now. And of course, with the Commonwealth Games coming here, we are able to have a place set up. So we had the sand arriving over the weekend. I think it was on Sunday. So and it was laid out. And I know the crews are working day and night to make sure that facility is ready, which means that you, the public, too, should go forth and show your support, and be a part of the games. It is a wonderful time to have so many different countries being able to come to Trinidad and Tobago. It's such a great thing that Tobago can have a few of the events, and we can host some of the athletes and so on that are coming in from so many countries around the world. And we're definitely looking forward to it. And the dates are up there, as you can see, for the various events. And you should get some tickets and go to 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Go to as many events as possible and be a part of it. And the information is there. You can get your tickets via the website. I am not too sure if you'll be able to get tickets on the day of the event. I'm pretty sure there might be something in place, but you can reserve your tickets online for now. And of course, you can be part of that. And then what is very interesting too is that the closing ceremony for the Commonwealth Games are going to be held in Tobago. It's going to be held at the Pigeon Point Beach facility. That's something to really look forward to as well. Let's see how what show we in Tobago can put on. We know that we have it within us to do a good show. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. And as soon as we're done with that, the focus is going to be heavy on the Tobago Carnival, because folks, we know since the conclusion of the Tobago Carnival last year, we know that the last weekend of October, 29th, around there. But the launch is happening on the 31st of August, on Independence Day, coincidentally. Bago Jam. I know Bago Jam was, you could say that Bago Jam was a success. It attracted quite a number of you last year. Shore Park was jam-packed with people as we, saw the performances, and we got ready for the launch, and we got excited with the bands being paraded on stage and showing off their costumes. We already had approximately maybe three bands, if I'm not mistaken, do their launch so far. And I know Fog Angel, sorry, is getting ready to do their launch pretty soon. So we had Jade Monkey do their launch. We had Blush, and we had Iconic Mass as well. So those are some of the bands that already out there, have their costumes out there and getting prepared. So it seems as though this year maybe things would be a little bit smoother. We're seeing some early launches. We've seen information come forth earlier than it was last year. So we're looking forward to see what happens, and we're looking forward to see if there are lessons learned from last year's edition. I know, of course, last year was the first time, and we knew that there were going to be some issues, and there was quite a lot that was highlighted by band leaders, by the soca artists, especially within our space and so on. So we're looking forward to see if those suggestions, those concerns were taken on board and included in a better way for the Tobago Carnival. So that's something to look forward to. I am definitely excited. And of course, we at Tobago Updates, we are going to be covering everything for you live. You saw what we did last year, so you can expect bigger and better from us this year. And not only that, did you know that we are on Amplia channel 102, so you can have, if you missed out on some of that coverage, you're going to be able to see some of that on our television station. And of course, there we have on stage one of the bands. I'm trying to remember this. Yes, I can't remember which. This is Jade Monkey, right? This is Jade Monkey. Thank you for that. Yeah, so that's some of the costumes that are there. But viewers, we are coming to the end of the show. It is just about 9 o'clock this morning. And just want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been my pleasure. And hope you have a safe and wonderful day. And we'll see you again tomorrow. But don't forget, we have brunch coming up at 10 a.m. So you're going to want to look out for that. So see you then.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago Updates.